Sure. Here's a written version of a story inspired by the title Survival Drill Reveals Deathworlders' Total Fearlessness. Fitting the HFY, humanity. Fuck yeah. Reddit style. Survival Drill Reveals Deathworlders' Total Fearlessness. Posted by u/xenoanthropowatchon r/HFY. The Galactic Coalition had always considered humanity unusual, not uncooperative, not hostile, just odd. Their biology was strange, their psychology even more so. Most species had long adapted to sanitized, predictable environments safe from danger, stress, and unpredictability. Then humans arrived. From the infamous Death World Earth, high gravity, extreme weather, wild predators, disease everywhere, and inexplicably, sports like rugby and wingsuit flying. But the real test came last week, when the joint interstellar training exercise began. A simulated survival scenario was scheduled, an emergency evacuation drill on an uninhabited Class 4 planet with dangerous terrain, low atmosphere, and sporadic seismic activity. For most species, it was terrifying. The drill involved crash landing near a broken emergency shelter. Participants were told they had 48 hours to find shelter, signal for help, and secure food and water. The event was designed to induce realistic levels of stress to evaluate teamwork, adaptation, and emotional regulation under duress. The Thrix ambassador fainted 10 minutes after landing. The Graal team refused to leave the drop pod after detecting a hostile life form. It was a rabbit. The Shikra queen began chanting funeral rites before the first day ended. The humans? They built a campfire. They named the rabbit Steve and considered keeping it as a mascot. One of them scaled a cliff just to see the view. When the simulated shelter collapsed in a planned aftershock, they laughed and started improvising tents with parachute fabric and carbon stakes. When a coalition observer asked why they weren't panicking, the human team leader, LT, Commander Alvarez, just shrugged. This is basically a Boy Scout trip. I've had worse weekends in Minnesota. By the end of the drill, the humans had mapped half the region, domesticated a local fruit, brewed a questionable liquor, and were holding a barbecue when the coalition retrieval team arrived. The debrief was awkward. Ambassador Creel of the Svar Collective asked, "Were you not aware this was meant to simulate survival conditions?" Alvarez nodded. "Yeah, we just didn't think it was that bad." Following the event, several coalition species requested psychological reassessment of humans. The working theory is that exposure to centuries of environmental chaos, constant minor threats, and an unhealthy sense of humor has led to the evolution of adaptive madness. Unofficially, the rest of the species have begun referring to humans as Deathworlders, a mix of fear, awe, and admiration. As for the humans, they're requesting more drills, preferably ones with a volcano or real danger next time. One even suggested adding a predator, just to spice things up. Would you like this in another tone? Serious? Horror? Comedy heavy? I can also format it like a chat transcript, news report, or make it part of a longer series. Great. Here's the next part of the story. Continuing from Survival Drill Reveals Deathworlders' Total Fearlessness. Part 2, Coalition Council Debrief Descends into Chaos. Posted by u/xenoanthropowatchon r/HFY. The joint interstellar training exercise was supposed to be a routine evaluation of interspecies cooperation. Instead, it triggered a full-scale diplomatic incident, and possibly a complete rewrite of coalition survival protocols. At the emergency debrief, recorded at coalition headquarters on Eltari Prime, things quickly got strange. Transcript excerpt, Council debrief, post-drill. Ambassador Creel, Svar, Commander Alvarez, please clarify how your team managed to locate all 3 emergency caches within the first 6 hours? Commander Alvarez, human. Well, ma'am, Johnson smelled one, said it reminded him of an old camping trip. The other 2 were just downhill from a rock formation I figured would make a good sniping spot. Admiral Varnick, Trell, sniping? This was a rescue drill. Alvarez, you never know. The debrief unraveled further when it was revealed the humans had built a functioning still out-of-shelter components, named their makeshift outpost camp Bad Idea, and voluntarily extended their stay by 6 hours to finish a card game. Other species were less amused. The Thrix are now lobbying to reclassify Earth as a Class 6 hazard world. The Grawl have requested human teams be isolated in future exercises to avoid ideological contamination. And the Shikra? They want to ban humans from drills entirely, claiming their reckless resilience undermines the educational value of shared trauma. But here's the kicker. Coalition psychologists now believe humanity may not lack a survival response, as previously thought. They may just have one that looks completely different. Dr. Telazin of the Jover Institute of Xenoneurology put it best. Human stress responses appear to include humor, competition, spontaneous engineering, and a refusal to acknowledge fear as a valid survival inhibitor. In other words, they laugh, build stuff, and carry on. Coalition Command is now drafting a new joint protocol. In the event of real planetary disaster, follow the humans. Rumor alert, a coalition general, name redacted, has submitted an application to undergo Earth combat survival training. The form reportedly includes a required viewing of something called Bear Grylls. Want to continue? Next chapter could be first contact with human wilderness instructors, or why is there a moose in the landing zone? Let me know. Excellent. Here's the next installment. Part 3, First Contact with Human Wilderness Instructors. Posted by you/xenothrowatchon/HFY. Following the now infamous survival drill and the debrief that nearly gave Ambassador Creel a cardiac event, the coalition requested a formal demonstration of Earth standard survival training. The humans obliged. Enter the Wilderness Instructor Exchange Program, a pilot initiative to allow coalition species to observe human survival training firsthand. The first event took place in the Alaskan wilderness, during what the humans casually called a mild spring. The average temperature was -2 degrees Celsius. A light snow was falling. The coalition observers arrived bundled in advanced thermal gear. The human instructors wore flannel and made jokes about sleeve weather. Instructor profile: Sergeant Moose McAllister. Height: 2.1 meters. Beard status: legendary. Smile: constant. Background: Arctic survival, demolitions, and, allegedly, wrestled a bear in Manitoba for fun. McAllister greeted the observers with hot coffee, a dead fish for breakfast, and an orientation speech that included the phrase, "If something's trying to kill you, kill it first or make friends with it. Either works." The observers were horrified. Day 1 included a mandatory cold plunge. Day 2 involved tracking a local predator for the experience. Day 3 featured improvised fire starting using only pocket lint, a rock, and sarcasm. The Shikra delegate attempted to self-terminate on Day 2. The Svar ambassador tried to file an emergency extraction. The humans, concerned for morale, responded by roasting marshmallows and teaching them campfire songs. Interview excerpt, Grawl observer Kvan. Coalition interviewer: how would you describe your experience? Kvan: I watched a man build a sauna from ice and tree bark in under an hour. Then he invited us in. I refused. He said, and I quote, "Your loss, buddy. It's toasty in here. I no longer know what is real." Outcome: Coalition Council is now rethinking the definition of resilience. Humans don't survive in spite of adversity. They make adversity feel awkward for showing up. The standard human response to danger appears to be some mix of improvisation, optimism, and a deep-seated belief that anything can be improved with duct tape. Some coalition species are calling this tactical optimism disorder. Others are lobbying to make it a required study subject for new recruits. Next up, why is there a moose in the landing zone? Spoiler, it's not a moose. It's McAllister's moose. He calls it Carl, and it wears a tactical vest. Ready for part 4? Absolutely. Here's the next chapter in the saga. Part 4, Why is there a moose in the landing zone? Posted by you/xenothrowatchon/HFY. When the Coalition Council approved a human-led survival symposium on the neutral moon of Elbrac 9, they thought they were prepared. They weren't. To prevent more diplomatic trauma, organizers insisted on neutral, temperate conditions, clear skies, gentle terrain, no native wildlife. The humans agreed. Then McAllister arrived, with a moose. Coalition Security Log, Elbrac 9 LZ. 902, Shuttle lands. 904, doors open. 905, large ungulate exits shuttle wearing tactical gear. 906, human identified as Moose McAllister follows. carrying an axe and whistling country roads. Carl the Moose is 2.3 meters tall at the shoulder, weighs approximately 800 kilograms, wears a reinforced Kevlar vest labeled instructor. He's technically classified as a non-combatant. Technically. When asked why he brought a moose, McAllister replied, "He's my co-instructor. He teaches confidence." Nobody argued. Survival Symposium Schedule Highlights. Day 1. Camouflage via mud and bravado. Day 2. Shelter construction with a 5-minute Carl chase warm-up. Day 3. Emergency cooking, including how to grill alien fungus without dying. The SFAR contingent achieved their first successful unassisted fire. The Shikra Queen stopped chanting funeral rites for the first time since Earthside training. One Thrix delegate hugged Carl and declared him the safest male I've ever met. By day 4, multiple species had begun imitating human behavior. Risk-taking increased by 37%. Use of humor in stressful scenarios up 81%. Several participants started naming their gear. Unexpected side effect. Carl is now considered a cultural symbol of resilience in at least 3 member species. The Grawl are drafting a children's book titled Carl Saves the Camp. The Thrix have requested moose DNA for potential hybridization programs. The Shikra Queen personally knighted Carl and granted him the title Sir Thunderhoof. Coalition Council Summary. The humans may not just be immune to fear. They may domesticate it, or ride it, or show it how to cook over a fire while singing. Next up, Joint Combat Drill. Why did the humans bring bagpipes? Spoiler, it wasn't for morale. It was for psychological warfare. Shall I continue to part 5? Delighted to. Here's part 5 of the story. Part 5, Joint Combat Drill. Why did the humans bring bagpipes? Posted by u/xenoanthrowatchon r/HFY. After the Survival Symposium on Elbrac 9, and Carl the Moose's unexpected rise to cultural icon status, the coalition believed it had seen the full spectrum of human unpredictability. They were wrong. This week marked the first live-action, mixed-species combat simulation, featuring real-time tactical exercises, simulated enemy threats, and coordinated maneuvers across a hostile environment. It was also the first time anyone had heard a bagpipe in space. Exercise, Operation Unity Strike. Location, Training Planet Sigma-9, Urban Ruins. Variable climate, aggressive wildlife. Objective, extract a wounded VIP from contested territory while under fire. Human team lead, Staff Sergeant Declan Hellpipes McRae. Specialty, unorthodox warfare. Psychological disruption, musical terrorism. Event log, Combat Zone Alpha. 0400 hours, insertion begins. 0417, contact with hostile drones initiated. 0420, human squad goes radio silent. Coalition observers prepare for casualties. 0423, distant wailing begins echoing through the ruined cityscape. It was not a predator. It was bagpipes. One Thrix trooper dropped his weapon in sheer confusion. A Grawl squad panicked and assumed a ritual death hymn had begun. The simulated enemy AI experienced a logic fault and began retreating. Observer note: the bagpipes were amplified through a portable sonic distortion rig. When questioned, McRae responded, Nothing rattles nerves like the sound of 1,000 screaming ghosts in a sack." He played while storming a building, grenade in hand. Casualties, simulated, plummeted by 80% for the human side. Morale on the enemy team collapsed. At least 2 coalition officers are now pursuing audiotherapy. Shikra Combat Analysis Summary. Human war doctrine includes fear inducement through oral chaos. They do not merely fight, they make art from madness. Grawl Command Evaluation. We recommend immediate ban of non-lethal psychological instruments, and possibly kilts. Fun fact: the final objective was secured 17 minutes early. The human squad extracted the VIP, stabilized casualties, and took a group photo mid-mission with Carl the Moose, airdropped for morale support. Carl wore a helmet. Conclusion: the coalition now understands something vital. Humanity doesn't break the rules. They dance on them, with a war cry, a duct-taped medkit, and music that sounds like metal and ghosts doing battle. Next up, Part 6. The human concept of fun is a war crime in 3 systems. Spoiler: they built a roller coaster during a storm. On purpose. Want me to continue to part 6? Here's part 6 for you. Part 6. The human concept of fun is a war crime in 3 systems. Posted by you/xenoanthropowatchon r/HFY. If you thought surviving Deathworlds and confusing entire species with bagpipes was the peak of human weirdness, buckle up. The latest coalition report from the Joint Recreation and Morale Division reveals that humans have an entirely alien relationship with the concept of fun. Incident report, the Stormroller. Location, training facility Omega-13, a temperate planet with notoriously volatile weather. Objective, team-building exercise during severe electrical storms. Humans were tasked to create a morale booster. What they built? A roller coaster. Out of scrap metal, old shuttle parts, and duct tape. During a lightning storm. Eyewitness account, Grawl engineer track. I was certain the entire structure would collapse within minutes. Instead, it stood. Then the humans rode it, screaming with joy while lightning cracked above them. Human explanation, LT, Commander Alvarez. Yeah, we figured if you're going to be stuck in a dangerous place, might as well make it exciting. Keeps the blood pumping and the mind sharp. Coalition psychologist summary. Humans seem to intentionally seek out controlled danger for recreation. This behavior has no direct analog in other species and is seen as a potentially destabilizing but effective stress inoculation technique. Unofficially, many coalition soldiers have asked to join the roller coaster rides. One even requested a monthly human-style fun day. Additional note. After the ride, several participants reported feeling more alive and ready for anything. A few Grawl even laughed, something considered extremely rare outside formal ceremonies. The verdict. In at least 3 coalition systems, human fun activities have been temporarily classified as psychological warfare due to their disarming effect on morale and their baffling disregard for safety protocols. Coming soon. Part 7. When humans say let's go camping and mean expect to die. Spoiler, it involves bears. Bears with attitude. And a campfire story that ends with and then we wrestled the thunderstorm. Want me to keep going? Here's part 7 coming right up. Part 7. When humans say let's go camping and mean expect to die. Posted by you/xenoanthropowatchon r/HFY. The coalition had assumed that human phrases like let's go camping meant something tame, a simple outdoor excursion with marshmallows and storytelling. They were wrong. Very wrong. Field report, Arctic survival training, Siberian expanse. The human team invited coalition observers to join a routine camping trip. The itinerary included building shelters in sub-zero temperatures, hunting local predators, including bears, with bare hands, navigating blizzard conditions with minimal gear, sharing stories about the time we wrestled a thunderstorm, which no one else has dared to verify. Shikra delegate comment. I believe we all came this close to a group existential crisis, and the humans just smiled, cooked dinner over a fire they built from nothing, and invited us to sing. The bear incident. During the 3rd night, a grizzly approached their camp. Most species would panic or attempt to flee. Humans? One of them, called Hansen, stood up, grabbed a large stick, and challenged the bear. The bear apparently hesitated. Hansen shrugged and started telling it a joke. The bear sat down. The humans roasted fish. Everyone survived. Coalition psychological analysis. Humans possess an extraordinary tolerance for risk combined with an ability to negotiate danger socially, a concept utterly alien to most species. Where others see lethal threat, humans see potential companionship or a challenge to overcome with humor and courage. The aftermath. Following this camping trip, coalition species have started re-evaluating their own definitions of courage, survival, and, most surprisingly, fun. What's next? Part 8. Humans and the Art of Diplomacy, or How to Confuse an Entire Embassy with a Barbecue. Ready for the next part? Here's Part 8 for you. Part 8. Humans and the Art of Diplomacy, or How to Confuse an Entire Embassy with a Barbecue. Posted by you/xenoanthropowatchon r/HFY. After the Arctic camping trip, the coalition invited humans to showcase their diplomatic skills at the upcoming summit on Elytron, a planet known for its rigid protocol and extreme formality. What happened next baffled everyone. Opening ceremony. Humans arrived carrying large crates filled with smoking grills, strange spices, and large cuts of meat. The ambassador's speech was short. We come in peace, and we bring food. The event. Instead of formal banquets with strict seating and etiquette, the humans set up a giant barbecue on the embassy grounds. They invited delegates to cook together, share stories, and participate in friendly competitions like Best Alien Marinade and Who Can Eat the Spiciest Thing. Shikra Queen's reaction. Initially horrified by the informality, the Queen eventually admitted. The shared flames have melted more tension than centuries of protocol. Unexpected diplomatic breakthroughs. The Graal and Thrix formed a tentative alliance over a shared love of spicy meat. The Svar ambassador, notorious for their cold demeanor, was seen laughing and trading cooking tips. Several coalition factions requested regular human-style social events to improve relations. Coalition analysts conclude. Humans employ social bonding through communal labor and shared risk, such as handling open flames, to break down barriers and build trust. It appears humanity's informal and tactile diplomacy style is incredibly effective, albeit chaotic by coalition standards. Next up, Part 9, the human immune system, why they don't get sick in space, and what that means for us. Want me to continue? Here's Part 9 for you. Part 9, the human immune system, why they don't get sick in space, and what that means for us. Posted by you/xenothrowatchon/HFY. While the coalition has long marveled at human psychology and behavior, the biology of humans continues to astonish. The latest discovery, humans appear to possess an immune system unlike any other known species, one that adapts rapidly, fights off diverse pathogens, and seems almost over-engineered for survival in hostile environments. Medical report from Space Station Nereid. Human crew members returned from deep space missions with remarkably few illnesses despite exposure to unknown microbes and zero-gravity stress. Dr. Liera Ven, Chief Medical Officer, notes, humans have a unique ability to rapidly adapt their immune response. They can develop resistance to pathogens within days, something unheard of in other species. Practical implications. Reduced quarantine times for human crews. Increased mission duration possibilities without health degradation. Potential for human-derived biomedicines to aid other species' immune challenges. Coalition Research Initiative. A joint project has begun to map and understand the genetic and biochemical basis of the human immune system, codenamed Project Resilience. Initial findings suggest that humans' evolutionary history on Earth's harsh and pathogen-rich environments led to a constantly battle-ready immune state. Rumor. Several coalition species have begun lobbying to include humans in frontline exploration teams based solely on their remarkable health and survival statistics. Next chapter, Part 10, Humans vs. the Void, Spaceflight and Mental Toughness. Want me to keep going? Here's Part 10 for you. Part 10, Humans vs. the Void, Spaceflight and Mental Toughness. Posted by you/xenothrowatchon/HFY. The coalition has long struggled with the psychological effects of deep space travel. Boredom, isolation, and sensory deprivation often lead to mission failures or mental breakdowns. Humans, however, seem to thrive. Space Station Nereid Psychological Report. Human crew members regularly participate in what they call mental resilience training involving simulated stress scenarios, humor, music, and physical exercise. Commander Alvarez explains. Out here, your mind can be your worst enemy. We fight back by keeping it sharp, distracted, and positive. Plus, a bit of friendly competition helps. Notable observations. Humans report less incidents of space madness despite longer mission durations. Their ability to adapt to new environments mentally is unparalleled. Humor and storytelling are key tools for maintaining crew cohesion. Coalition Mental Health Director's summary. Humans redefine psychological endurance. They use social bonding, creativity, and a refusal to succumb to despair as active survival strategies. Looking ahead, coalition training programs are now incorporating human-inspired mental exercises. One officer was overheard saying, "If I have to listen to another human joke, I might actually lose it, but it works." Next up, Part 11. When humans build a spaceship out of junk and it actually works. Want me to continue? Here's part 11 for you. Part 11, when humans build a spaceship out of junk and it actually works. Posted by you/Xenoanthropowatchon r/HFY. Coalition engineers were skeptical when humans proposed constructing a scout ship using spare parts salvaged from decommissioned shuttles, scrap metal, and what looked like industrial duct tape. The project, dubbed the Junker, was meant as a demonstration of human improvisation. Build highlights. Frame assembled in 72 hours. Power system jury-rigged from 3 different models of fusion reactors. Navigation system cobbled from outdated tech and a hacked AI. Test flight report. The Junker performed flawlessly, completing a reconnaissance mission beyond the asteroid belt, returning with valuable data, and a crew who reportedly called the flight a blast. Engineer Cora Trell. I witnessed a miracle. They took what we considered unusable junk and made space-worthy machinery. It defies logic but also inspires respect. Coalition Command Takeaway. Human engineering philosophy embraces pragmatic creativity, solving problems with whatever's at hand and refusing to be constrained by standard protocols. Rumor. Plans are underway to integrate a human-led engineering squad into the next deep space exploration fleet. Next up, Part 12, the secret behind human sleep patterns, why they need less and what it means for space travel. Want me to continue? Here's Part 12. Part 12, the secret behind human sleep patterns, why they need less and what it means for space travel. Posted by you/Xenoanthropowatchon r/HFY. Coalition biologists were baffled by human claims of functioning optimally on just 6 hours of sleep per day, compared to the 10+ hours required by most species. Research findings. Humans have an unusual sleep cycle with highly efficient REM phases. They utilize polyphasic sleep patterns naturally, with short naps improving alertness. Humans can sustain prolonged wakefulness with minimal cognitive decline, especially under stress. Implications for spaceflight. Reduced need for extended rest periods increases mission efficiency. Short, strategic naps combat the mental fatigue common in zero-gravity environments. The human sleep model is being studied to improve other species' crew rotations. Psychological note. Humans often describe sleep as a necessary inconvenience, but tend to fill waking hours with intense activity and social interaction, further boosting mental resilience. Next up, Part 13, how humans turn failure into fuel, the art of bouncing back. Want me to continue? Here's Part 13 for you. Part 13, how humans turn failure into fuel, the art of bouncing back. Posted by you/Xenoanthropowatchon r/HFY. One of the most studied human traits by the Coalition is their remarkable resilience in the face of failure. Unlike many species that view failure as a catastrophic event, humans treat it as a learning opportunity, even a source of motivation. Field observation. When a human-led mission suffered a setback, equipment failure, hostile engagement, or miscalculation, the crew's response was consistent. Analyze what went wrong. Adapt tactics immediately. Encourage each other with humor and determination. Try again, often with improved methods. Coalition psychologist Dr. Vale comments. This mindset creates a cycle of continuous improvement and confidence, reducing fear of risk and fostering innovation. Example: after losing a reconnaissance drone to enemy fire, a human engineer quickly jury-rigged a replacement from scavenged parts, joking, "It's not broken, just reimagined." The result: humans' growth mindset makes them formidable explorers and warriors, as they rarely give up and always find a new approach. Next up, Part 14, humans and their obsession with storytelling, why it's more than just entertainment. Want me to continue? Here's Part 14 for you. Part 14, humans and their obsession with storytelling, why it's more than just entertainment. Posted by you/Xenoanthropowatchon r/HFY. Storytelling isn't just a pastime for humans, it's a core survival mechanism. Across countless missions, humans have used stories, myths, and humor to build social bonds, pass down critical knowledge, maintain morale during long, stressful deployments. Coalition anthropologist Dr. Svarek. Humans encode experience and wisdom in narratives, making them accessible and memorable. Their stories often emphasize hope, courage, and adaptability. Example. During a months-long standoff on a hostile planet, a human crew shared campfire stories nightly, which helped reduce anxiety and maintain focus. Unexpected benefit. Other species began adopting human storytelling techniques, improving their own teamwork and resilience. Next up, Part 15. When humans laugh in the face of death, the power of humor in extreme situations. Want me to continue? Here's Part 15. Part 15. When humans laugh in the face of death, the power of humor in extreme situations. Posted by u/xenoanthropwatchon r/HFY. Coalition commanders have noted an unsettling but effective human trait, their ability to use humor in moments of extreme danger. Incident report. During a surprise ambush on a hostile world, human soldiers cracked jokes and even sang while returning fire, unnerving both enemies and allies. Psychological analysis. Humor acts as a defense mechanism, lowering stress hormones and boosting group cohesion. Coalition officers note. It's disarming. We've seen enemy forces break ranks simply because the humans refused to panic and kept laughing. Conclusion. Laughter isn't just a social tool for humans, it's a weapon. Next up, Part 16. Humans and their strange relationship with technology, why they fix things with duct tape and determination. Want me to keep going? Here's Part 16 for you. Part 16. Humans and their strange relationship with technology, why they fix things with duct tape and determination. Posted by u/xenoanthropwatchon r/HFY. Coalition engineers often marvel, and sometimes despair, at human methods of maintaining and repairing technology. When other species follow strict protocols and wait for perfect parts, humans improvise. Duct tape, chewing gum, spare wires, and sheer willpower become their toolkit. Engineers' car report. I've seen humans fix a broken hyperdrive using nothing but a piece of fabric and their stubbornness. It actually worked. Human mechanics philosophy, Tech Sergeant Blake. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it is broke, duct tape and determination usually do the trick until you can get a real fix. Coalition conclusion. Human improvisation in tech repairs makes them invaluable in the field, especially when standard resources are unavailable. Next up, Part 17. When humans train, why their workouts look like war preparations. Want me to continue?